Evening, all friends to whom I haven't already said good evening. What a joy to see so many faces I haven't seen for such a long time, and some who I've never seen before. But it's great to be here, and Oz and I jumped at the chance to do something which I hope will provide a few moments of, sort of gentle smiles, if not outright levity. And so we did our things remotely, and the whole thing was stitched together. I had a very kind offer from Amanda, but I had already discovered that my son-in-law, relatively recent son-in-law, very exciting, was prepared to edit it. And so he stitched Oz and me together, not up, but together. And so I hope it's acceptable. Is this all right, as they say?
COVID time, and the living ain't easy. Work is cancelled, and the fund's running dry.
Your daddy's not rich, and your mommy's out cleaning. So hush, little baby, try not to cry.
It's a bit gloomy, isn't it? How about something more jolly, something more Christmassy?
What about a version of a well-known carol? Oh, the COVID and the Brexit, when they are both full grown, of all the miseries of 2020, Corona is the crown.
Oh, the running out of money and the queuing up of trucks, the shutting of the borders and the couldn't give a fucks.
I say, old chap, steady on. The folly of the Brexit and the losing of the jobs, the betting on the money markets, the profits for the knobs.
Oh, the giving out of contracts to the cronies and the mates, sod the test and tracing system and pathetic success rates.
Oh, the COVID and the Brexit, they'll soon be fully grown. We can only hope that 21 will bring us less to make us groan. Maybe something a bit more whiny?
I'll tell you what. I'll start off a song we both know, and you can give it a whiny twist when you come in. You're the cream in my coffee, you're the salt in my stew, you will always be my necessity, I'd be lost without you.
You're Riesling in my Riedel, you're Pinot through and through. Wine will always be my necessity, I'd be lost without you.
Some wines have VA or foul TCA. Some have reduction, others oxyfuction.
But we love all the good ones, from Orinto to Zin. Wine will always be our necessity, whatever state we're in.
Cheers. Happy Christmas.
Cheers! Lovely.
Always difficult to get wine directly from glass into throat.
indeed. Thank you very much, Oz and Charles, for doing that. And perhaps we can look forward to a little more from Charles later this evening. Can I please now introduce our Honorary President, Rosemary George, to say a few words.
Well, good evening, everyone. May I add my warm welcome to a Circle Christmas party and a 60th birthday party, quite unlike any we've ever had before. I have to say, I hope we never have to have another party on Zoom ever again. Though this is actually proving great fun with a certain ambience set by Oz and Charles. So like Colin, I'm thrilled that so many members from overseas have joined us. That really is a first. But the other positive thing that's come from the COVID crisis of this year and the curious times we lived through are the weekly webinars that have been organised. Let's talk about, which have covered various topics. I found them very interesting, and they took, broadened my horizons enormously. So I'm delighted that some of the people who actually contributed to those webinars are with us this evening, coming from places as varied as Italy, South Africa, France and Switzerland, and not forgetting our very own English vineyard, Bolney Estate. So the thing I usually have to do with this speech is to thank our hosts for their hospitality and tell you which charity they would like us to support. Well, this year we had to organise our own party. Well, that is actually to say, this party was organised by Andrea. Without Andrea, this evening wouldn't be happening. So I'd like to say a very big thank you to Andrea for doing all the work behind the scenes. And of course, this year it was our committee who decided which charity we should support. And they came up with the charity that I must admit I never come across before, called Care International. They were actually set up in 1945 to help people all over Europe suffering from the aftermath of the Second World War and delivering care packages. Now, these days, in their own words, they work around the world to save lives, defeat poverty, and achieve social justice. They put women and girls in the centre because we know we want to overcome poverty until all people have equal rights and opportunities. And the other good thing about them is they have low overheads. So they say that out of every pound that is raised, 84p of that actually goes to fighting poverty and just 16p on fundraising and support. So may I encourage all the Circle membership to make a donation to this very worthwhile cause, remembering that you've not actually had to buy a ticket to this party this year, though you may have had to provide your own refreshments. So there's a link to the Care International link, an email you would have received about this evening. And so far, we've actually donated £247. So please keep going and see if you make it 500. Then I would like to welcome our Vice President, Bob Campbell, and wish him a very happy birthday, as it's still his birthday in London, even though in Auckland it is the morning after. So happy birthday, Bob. I can see you on my screen down in the bottom corner. And I would like to wish everybody else a very happy Christmas, with a glass of Camel Valley sparkling rosé. And let's hope for a very much better 2021 than 2020, and roll on the vaccine so we can meet up at tastings again and travel again and get together again. So Bob, I think over to you to say a few words if you would like to, and tell us what life in Auckland is like.
Well, Merry Christmas, everybody. It's lovely to be here or there or whatever the term is. I'm supposed to introduce my wine. I had a bit of a mission. I've got a lot of work to do today, so I wanted to remain alert. So my choice of wine might seem rather odd. I've got a Taylor's very old tawny port, because I wanted a little to go a long way, and this really is a truly marvelous wine. It's supposed to be nearly 90 years old in barrel, and it's like perfume. It's so concentrated. It just is wafting out of the glass. It's wonderful stuff. So I just need I've only got a tiny little bit, but it's terrific stuff. Anyway, great to be with you. And who do I hand over to now to? Rosemary, are you back to you?
I think back to Colin.
I should say before I go, apologies for me gazing off to the left. I have two screens, and the camera's on the screen where it's got my attention, and the photos of everybody on the other screen. And I can't seem to get it from one screen to the other, if anyone's got any bright ideas.
I like the penguin.
Yes, penguins.
Oh,
your,
that's
your,
Arthur.
your companion.
Yeah, yeah, it's an old friend. It's been with me for nearly 50 years.
Oh, right.
Cheers, Bob. Thank you very much. Lovely to hear from you.
It's likewise.
We've now got somebody very interesting to hear from, Christopher Fielding, who's going to tell us a little bit about the Circle's history. He's a past chairman, and we've got a 60-year history now, so some of the newer members may not know so much about it. Christopher, over to you.
Thank you very much, Colin. Good evening, everybody. I'm drinking Malbec or Co from Touraine, Sans Visage 2016. So that's my contribution, and I'm glad to see Jim Budd. I've been trying to support the Loire Valley for him tonight. I've been given the almost impossible task of cramming 60 years into 5 minutes. And what makes it even more difficult, that for one reason or another, the history or the minutes or any notes about the first 2 years of existence of the Circle don't exist. And then there's another gap of 15 years later on. So we've only got records of 43 years out of the 60. The Circle was founded in 1960, as already been said, by Cyril Ray, who was a remarkable person. He was a brilliant scholar at Manchester Grammar School and was given a scholarship to Oxford, but unfortunately his family didn't have enough money to send him to Oxford, even with the scholarship. So his career started as a teacher in a school, I think worked for Lewis's score, and then got into journalism, writing about films for what was then the Manchester Guardian. From there, he went on to be a war correspondent and then a foreign correspondent. And he started writing about wine in about 1957, when he put together the first of his series of The Complete Imbiber, which was a miscellany of things about wine. And in 1960, under his aegis, and rather more than his aegis, because it was more or less a private club for those he liked, he set up the Circle of Wine Writers. And we don't know exactly who the initial members were, but they included someone who was the Arundel Herald of Arms, which is quite an exotic title. And it's thought that it was mainly a group of gifted amateurs who wrote about wine part-time. Some of them were more food writers than wine writers. But their range was enormous. Cyril Ray was a lifelong Champagne socialist. The president was André Simon, who has been described as being to the right of Louis XIV, whereas Cyril was described as being somewhat to the left of Stalin. And it became apparent fairly soon that it wasn't really a circle of wine writers. And on more than one occasion, the minutes of the committee say that express concern that a number of people weren't actually writing about wine. On 2 occasions, they said that a third of their members probably weren't active wine writers. But I think it really began to come into itself, and one can almost trace the history of the circle going from strength to strength from books that were written. And I can remember in 1971 when Hugh Johnson produced his first wine atlas. And that for me was a momentous time. And the early 70s, or during the 70s, were when Hugh Johnson, Jancis, Decanter magazine was formed, and Wine and Spirit. This was the time when wine writing began to come into its own. And I think I joined the committee probably in about 1980. And in the 80s, we expanded and took in our first foreign members. And we also began for the first time to organize our own trips abroad. And I think it's really from then that the circle has expanded to what it is now. If you look at it in the beginning as being a small group of people who probably like to chat about wine amongst themselves, and we look at the people that are here this evening, I think we can be really proud of what this circle has achieved. I think I fitted that into about 5 minutes. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Christopher. Fascinating stuff.
So this is, I thought, something Christmassy, and I felt sufficiently non-tied to any particular faith. We wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Glad tidings we bring to you and your kin. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Oh, bring us a COVID vaccine. Oh, yes, bring us a COVID vaccine. Yes, bring us a COVID vaccine and announce the all clear. Good tidings we'll bring to you and your kin. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We won't go until we've got one. We won't go until we've got one. We won't go until we've got one. Have I made myself clear? Good tidings we'll bring to you and your kin. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a better New Year.
Fantastic.
Fantastic, Charles. That's awesome. Hilarious. That's great. Thank you so much to everybody for coming along this evening. It's great to see so many people from so many different countries and have a drink and see what other people are drinking. Normally we have a sponsor, which is wonderful, and we have one particular style of wine. But this evening we've had a myriad of wines. It's been great. And I hope everybody does have a Merry Christmas and a fantastic New Year.
Thanks, Colin.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Colin.
Thank you, everyone. Lovely to see you all.
Have a good time. See you very soon.
Merry Christmas.
Where's the
Merry Christmas.
Bye. Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Everybody,
Happy New Year.
enjoy your holidays. Stay
Thanks for
together. Stay
organising it,
healthy.
Andrea.
Thank you.
No problem, Charles. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Love to all.
See you soon. Happy New Year.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye bye,
Joyeux
Charles.
Noël à tous.
Bye, Jerome.
Et bonne année.
Bye from
Bonne année.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you so much.